Okay, we're back to talk about Task, Season 1, Episodes 1 through 4. The show is on HBO. This series created and written by Brad Inglesby. Episodes 1 and 2 directed by Jeremiah Zagar, and Episodes 3 and 4 by Sally Richardson Whitfield. Throughout the first 4 episodes of Task, two pretty damaged men on opposite sides of the law begin journey toward each other. FBI agent Tom Brandis, haunted by his past and a family tragedy, is asked to lead a task force that's hunting a Halloween crew. That crew, which has been robbing drug houses, includes Robbie Prendergast, a single father who's trying to take care of two kids and a niece who also lives with him. In episode 1, Robbie, Cliff, and their colleague Peaches execute a robbery that has deadly results and ends with Robbie taking home a young boy named Sam. In episode 2, Tom's task force investigates the fatal drug house raid while Robbie pursues revenge for his dead brother. In episode 3, we're introduced to the Dark Hearts Motorcycle Club, who are hunting the murderers and kidnappers of Sam while not realizing that they have a leak within their own organization. Robbie and Cliff seek a way to unload the drugs that they stole, and Tom begins to suspect a mole might be on his task force. In episode 4, a sting operation is mounted to try to catch Cliff and save Sam, but a leak in the task force foils that plan. The Dark Hearts use their informant to capture Robbie, begin to torture him for information. So after 4 episodes, that's kind of where we're left. Robbie's still on the run. Cliff is, I guess, dead. I guess we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
And Tom has got some plugging of holes to fill if he wants to try to solve this case and rescue Sam. So general thoughts on this, and then maybe we'll dig into specifically Pelfrey and Ruffalo and their performances in a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think our discussion today will probably be a step more general than the ones that
Yeah.
follow in the coming weeks because we're covering 4 episodes. We can't dig into all the details and whatever, but that's fine. I do really enjoy the show, and yeah, these central performances are key to it, right? Mark Ruffalo is great. Tom Pelfrey on the other side, and I really do enjoy how it's one of these where you're getting, well, maybe more than two perspectives, but these are the main two perspectives
Yeah.
on the same stuff, and in a way that really does kind of make you sympathize or empathize with the criminal as well as the FBI agent.
Yes.
Thoughts from you here?
Yeah, just one of those interesting shows where you are introduced not only to the FBI side, you're introduced to the criminal side, but there's always, I think it's the point of some of these shows, there's always a criminal or a group or somebody that's worse than the criminal we're following,
Yeah,
right? And so you are meant to empathize or be sort of on the side of this guy who does have some redeeming qualities to him, certainly. You might even be sort of empathetic to the reasoning why he's been doing these raids and stealing these drugs and trying to take down this motorcycle club. So I don't know. In a draft of the performers in this show, I think I would take Tom Pelfrey number one overall. I think he's my favorite so far. Plays character Robbie. But just I am looking forward to however these two guys intersect down the road. I think it should be pretty powerful.
yeah, agreed. And as you say, I mean, when it comes to Robbie, we do really have to give a lot of credit to Tom Pelfrey here because, yeah, you're right. I mean, I like the guy, I guess, is
Hmm.
almost the best way to put it. When it comes down to, you mentioned how you might empathize with the plan that he was on and all of that. I don't know, maybe. Like
Yeah.
you can get the motivations
Yeah.
because
You
it's like
understand the motivation.
you understand the motivations that the biker gang killed his brother, and the head of the biker gang, Jason, in particular, killed his brother because his brother was having an affair with Jason's wife, right? And all
Yeah.
of that. And so that now she's slipping him information, but really, their ultimate goal almost is to get Jason to lose his position. Jason with a
Right.
Y. I don't know why I feel like I need to emphasize this. It's Jason with a Y. His name's not
Yeah.
spelled normal. But, anyhow, what I was on the track of trying to get to there is, okay, yeah, sure, we can get all of that and maybe even empathize with it a little bit or understand it.
Uh-huh.
Also, what he has done is very stupid.
Yes, that's the thing I think that's important to mention is none of his plans are have any sort of sense of, of um, thoughtfulness or looking ahead or what are the consequences. Every decision he makes seems to be more stupid than the last. But yeah, you still for some reason have this feeling of, I still kind of like this guy.
Yeah. And I mean, like taking the kid, Sam, who also, I mean, there's a good performance going on there too, because the kid's very likable, very,
Mm-hmm.
very likable.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's real stupid. There was that brief moment when, at the end of episode one, where I had Breaking Bad flashbacks. Um, but it doesn't go that way here. We've got
Yes.
you know, that wrinkle, and I was thinking about it as watching episode four, and so on. Um, of all the things, that there are a lot of threads here where I'm curious to see where they go. But I realized that I'm almost most afraid of when Sam learns his parents are dead.
It's so much of, yeah, I think the emotionality is tied into Sam here. Will he be okay? If he
Mm-hmm.
is okay, well, that doesn't mean he's okay because he has to go find out that his parents are killed. Is he going to be put in the hands of this motorcycle club and they raise him? Like what happens to him? I'm very concerned about this kid. I'm very invested in, his
Yeah.
his well-being. Loves seeing how much he cares about animals and how cautious he is, which means something is definitely going to happen to him. So I'm very worried about him in the next few episodes.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's just like, how gut wrenching is this going to be? And
Yes.
with the overall tenor of the show, I feel like, oh, it's going to be very gut wrenching.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, one way or another, it's like there's going to be some moment involving this kid where it's like start bawling or
Yeah.
something. It's
I
like
don't know.
it's coming.
I don't know if you watched Mayor of Easttown, which is the other HBO show that Brad Inglesby did several years back, but it just, yeah, you're not going to show this kid taking care of deer and feeding watermelon to chickens, and then he's going to be okay. It's just not the kind of show that he writes, unfortunately.
Well, I bet we know he's not going to be okay, at least to the extent that he's going to find out that his parents are dead and his parents are
Correct.
dead. You know what I mean?
Correct.
And he had been living with his grandmother or whatever, but was back with his parents because of how her dementia has progressed or whatever,
Right.
right? So, in a weird way, it almost seems like he doesn't have a better place to be than with
Mm,
Robbie and Maeve, you
correct.
know.
Yeah.
But they're treating him well and all of that. They've also kidnapped the kid, so that's no good. So yeah, I mean, there's not a happy ending for him,
No, there
really. I
there
mean,
just
well,
there just can't be. Yeah.
I don't know what's the best case scenario that he ultimately is discovered, um,
He's got a really nice, well-balanced aunt somewhere that he goes to live with. I mean, I guess that's the best we can hope for him.
gets taken in as a foster child or
Yeah.
adopted or something. I mean, like the best case scenario is still not great. And maybe on that front, we can kind of shift a little bit to what does seem like a side story, but I think is important to what the show is doing with the Brandis family, right?
Hmm.
There's this whole thing there where um, his wife died at
Right.
the hands of his adopted son, Ethan.
Who was
We
off
don't.
his psychotic medication or something like that?
There's a line in there they say he was off his meds because of COVID or something.
Okay, yeah.
Perhaps because he had COVID. I don't know.
Yeah.
We haven't seen what happened there. I don't
No.
know if we will see. There have been some flashbacks, so it's possible.
Yeah,
Um,
Morel Enos is playing the wife in one scene so far, and then a couple of photos. So you get that
right.
actress for very 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 little work. We'll see.
I mean, maybe you get that actress for little work, but I mean, it's like, come on, you recognize the actress, you kind of almost expect there'll be more flashbacks,
Yeah.
and that storyline is compelling as well. I think because there's this whole question of whether Tom will make a statement at Ethan's sentencing, of whether Emily, Ethan's sister, right, will make a statement, and then you've got Sarah, who is well also their sister. They're adopted, and Sarah is Tom's biological daughter, right? So
Correct.
there's
Yep.
tensions involved there too. Like she's mad about the possibility of Emily making the statement, um, and this feels almost totally separate from our main storyline, but I'm hooked on that too. I want to see where that goes. I'm fully invested, I guess I should say, on that as well.
Yeah, I questioned it at the beginning, sort of what its purpose was in the show, but now it almost seems as a vehicle to help us see if Tom can resolve this case somehow while also dealing with this other just tragic conflict and having to revisit this thing that happened with his adopted son. Can he be successful with the task force while fighting this other thing? And it just pulling Mark Ruffalo as Tom Brandis in these different directions, which I think he's also doing very well. So yeah, I was sort of curious at first what the point was, but now I think I understand it.
I think it works. I
Yeah.
mean, it's definitely a trope, as it
Yeah.
were,
Yeah.
of the um, detective who is also a broken person because of their tragic past in one way or another.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the
It,
most
it also
novel
gives you the
thing, but
opportunity to have several therapy scenes, a scene where Tom is talking to his former priest colleague, just give us a lot of exposition. So we get a lot of things available to us because of that dynamic.
yeah, again, I think it works and it's part of the show and a meaningful part of the show. And it got me thinking about apologies, it feels like we're jumping around too much, but it ultimately becomes revealed that there's like a mole within the FBI, right?
Hmm.
But then we basically find out who it is,
Yeah.
and it's Tom's boss. It's Kath, as he calls her, Kathleen. Um, so I wonder if you have any thoughts about this. I was kind of pondering a little bit as a question, that okay, so she is to whatever degree in cahoots with Dark Hearts.
Hmm.
Hey, all right, I can buy that. That's not a problem, right? Whatever the background story is of that, or she's perfectly happy to like let them take care of their own business in their own brutal ways, whatever.
Right.
But then I also got thinking about like, but she's the one who set up this task force.
Okay. I know where you're headed and I like it.
Okay. Um, well, I mean, I virtually got there. I mean, it is the case the task force is investigating the robberies of the Dark Hearts houses. So that kind of makes sense, but at the same time, you would think that the biker gang would just want to leave the feds out of it.
Hmm.
So let me just leave it there and throw it to you as a question. I think I've said enough.
Yeah, I just think that Martha Plimpton, who plays Kathleen, is a mole, maybe not the only mole. That she's put somebody, she's going to get what weekly briefings or something from Tom, but she's put somebody on the task force who is sympathetic to what she wants. And why is that? Who knows? Does she owe the Dark Heart something? Or is they holding something against her? We really have no idea at this point, but I'm not convinced that she's the only person that's working against Tom at this point.
Yeah, interesting. I'm not either. Um, any thoughts just though about why she set up the task force? Because one thing I guess what put me on this path a little bit was one thought that occurred to me was, well, okay, maybe it wasn't her choice at all to set up the task force, but she made Tom head it because he's broken, like
He's a broken
um,
drunk who's not going to ever figure it out. Yeah.
yeah, like or at least that's what she had in mind.
Yeah. Yeah. I do wonder when that very first conversation they had together, was there something about she was getting pressure on this, or she was hearing that we needed to take care of it to sort of clear the decks of some things that were bad PR. I can't recall if she felt she was getting pressure, but yeah, why would she set it up if she had no interest in actually having the FBI solve it?
Yeah, yeah, maybe we should revisit that scene a little bit, now that we know that. I mean, it's pretty clear. I don't know for sure who she calls, but I think she called Jason. I think that's how you
Yeah.
put it together, right?
Somebody high up in the dark arts. Yeah.
Saying, "Oh, we might have a problem." Let's shift there to parse that if we can. What happens here, right? So they get Cliff goes. I mean, this is what in episode 3, I think, where Cliff and Robbie go to this guy that Cliff knows from when he was in prison, whose name
Hmm.
is I think Ray or something like that. And of course, Ray quickly betrays him and breaks into his house to try to steal the drugs away. But then the upshot of all of this is that the FBI is going to set up the sting operation to meet in the
Yes.
park. um, and pretend to be the drug dealer who's going to buy the drugs, and so on, right? Um, None of this goes to plan, of course, from the FBI's or from Tom's perspective, right?
Right.
They end up like pulling over just some random people in a car.
Right.
But then we see Cliff arriving to a different spot in order to meet and then being run off the road by the Dark Hearts.
Hmm.
So all of that. What happened here? I guess is my question.
So
Is it sufficiently clear?
yeah, I've been thinking about this, and I think I might know what's going on here, but I can't say I'm entirely sure. So when they arrested Ray, they had him unlock his phone and text Cliff to say, meet in the park at 11. And we got a very clear shot of him texting him and getting the Philadelphia Flyers logo on his phone. Okay.
Yeah.
So now, presumably, Ray has gone off to prison for violating his parole. Tom, sort of double crossed him and said, you're going to jail, whatever. So the FBI has kept his phone.
Yeah.
Somehow, Kath has gotten the phone and given it to the Dark Hearts because we see that same phone text Cliff saying, I'm here, but that here is a different location than it was before. So the Dark Hearts texted him at some point that we didn't see and say, we actually changed the meeting location to this spot. And then that's when they get him and run him off the road. And then they're going to get the
Okay.
phone back to Kat. That's my understanding of what's happened. I could certainly be wrong about that.
Yeah, no, I think that must be right. That she gave them the phone
Yeah, she knows about the
to,
sting. She knows about the phone. She knows about the dark hearts. So she sort of has coordinated this to where Tom's thing is going to fail, and the dark hearts are going to meet Cliff at a different location.
yeah, that makes sense. I was a little confused as I was watching it.
Yeah, it
Um,
was when I saw the logo on the phone that's what made me think about, well, there must be something there. Okay, that's Ray's phone. They've done something with that.
yeah, you're right. I mean, even without that, I think you can make the inference because you're right. They text him, and so they must be texting him from the number he's been talking to in order for that to
Yeah,
work.
yeah,
So yeah, it makes sense then that it must be the case. Basically, in the background, Kath has grabbed that phone and given it to the Dark Hearts.
yes, yeah. That's my understanding.
Um, and then I don't know if they'll give it back or what. You know what I mean?
Yeah, put it back in the evidence storage locker. Yeah,
Is there much reason for Tom to come looking for that phone at this point? Maybe not, but that doesn't mean he won't do so.
yeah, yeah.
Um, Following out that path, they don't find the drugs in the car, right?
Right.
Because Cliff and Robbie are at least quote unquote smart enough to where Cliff just had a sample
Mm-hmm.
and Robbie had the rest of them. And so Cliff
Right.
was going to do the meeting, show the sample, ball's going to plan, then Robbie would come with the rest of the drugs and they'd sell off all of them, which of course is what they want to do.
Right.
Um, which I mean, as an aside, also an interesting wrinkle of the show, right? If you are empathizing at all with Robbie and Cliff, you know, okay, they robbed this drug house. All right. They were looking for money. And then it is kind of an interesting oh no, to discover that you didn't get money, you got like a massive amount of
12
fentanyl,
kilos
I
of
think it
fentanyl.
is.
Yeah.
Right. Because you look at that, you're like, well, that could be a lot of money.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, um, but it's also what is that? There's like an Alfred Hitchcock movie where it's like the whole movie centers around trying to dispose of a dead body. You know
Oh,
what I'm talking about? Did
yes.
you see that one?
Gosh, I need to phone a friend of my wife. She's a Hitchcock expert.
Yeah, me
Gosh, I
too.
can't recall.
I'd have to do a little research to remind myself of what that movie is. It's a good movie. It's sort of funny, really. But it kind of reminded me of that, you know. So what do we do with these
Yeah,
drugs?
it's what we
You
do with it.
know?
Yeah. Yeah, so
But
off the back of that failed sting operation in the Dark Hearts running Cliff off the road, my question was, okay, it looks like they're torturing him, trying to get information out of Cliff. So A, where's the drugs? B, where's Sam? And he
mhm.
won't tell them anything. And then Jason just saran wraps his head and kills him. Why? If he hasn't given up anything, they just think he's not going to give up information, or has what Perry discovered in the scene before has he passed that on to Jason? He's like, okay, I think I know what's going on here. I think I know who the other person is. We don't have to worry about Cliff anymore. We need to go after Robbie.
Yeah, I don't know. I was on the path of trying to move us to this question, so good that we got there. It definitely does seem that he killed Cliff.
Hmm.
Like that's how it reads televisually.
Correct.
But you're right. I didn't. Not sure it entirely makes sense. When he first started saran wrapping his head, I thought that this was a torture trick, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
in other
Same.
words, like we're going to saran wrap your head, you're going to suffocate for a bit, then we're going to poke a hole,
Correct.
that sort of thing. But he doesn't. Instead, Cliff just collapses, and yeah, by like the rules of television, it feels like we saw him die.
Yeah.
Maybe not, because of course, TV can always say, "Oh no,
Yeah.
actually,
That's-
you just
They
didn't
they
see
re
them
they
poke the saran wrap."
right. They revived him right away or something. Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I mean, I don't know. I agree. On the one hand, it kind of doesn't make sense that they would kill him because we're thinking that he has information that they want, which at very least they want to know where the rest of the drugs are.
Yep.
Whether they care about Sam or not is a somewhat separate question.
Yeah.
But they want to know where the rest of those drugs are for sure.
Hmm.
Um, it did feel odd that they would just kill him that quickly.
Yeah. If he's apparently divulged nothing. So I did think it might have something to do with the fact that, we had Perry sort of playing the role of detective in this episode, and he's put
Yeah,
together that Maeve and her father, Billy, are involved in this because of the gun matching the photo he saw. And if Billy was involved in this, he was the one killed by Jason. Well, it must be Robbie he's the one that's enacting what Perry called the very personal
yeah,
revenge that must be causing this.
yeah. I mean that makes sense, I guess. And if you're thinking, well, this isn't our only lead, and you've become sufficiently convinced that Cliff isn't going to talk,
Right.
it just feels like maybe they didn't torture him long enough to come to that conclusion. I don't know. It's weird to
Yeah.
taking on the perspective of the bad guy, as it were. I mean, it's not the hugest, to
Yeah.
but it is. I did also think, maybe this is one downside of being the kind of biker gang where Cliff knows that they're going to kill him anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, yeah. He knows, yeah, the rules of this organization are he's not making out of that room. So why talk?
Yeah, exactly. Right. And then maybe a little bit of a downside of having that ethos of the biker gang where, it's like, all right, well, this guy knows that even if he tells you what you want to know, you're still going to kill him.
Exactly.
So why
Exactly.
should he tell you anything?
Right.
And so maybe Jason knows that he knows, and that's been made sufficiently clear. And okay, they're not going to get anything out of him, and we're not going to sit here all night trying to torture this guy. We got to, just kill him and dispose of his body and move on with our lives.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess. I guess. Unless he's magically still alive next episode. It's possible, but yeah, I don't really see that foresee that with this show. Let's see what else we got here. You want to talk a little bit more about uh, the mole inside of Dark Hearts? Is her name Erin? Is that
Yeah, her name is Erin. So this is the one who was sleeping with Billy, was, cheating on Jason, sleeping with Billy. They found out Jason killed Billy, and I guess Erin was torn up about that. So that's why she started feeding information to Robbie about, I guess, where to scope out things, where to find houses, where to find drugs and money, etc. So that's the clear mole on that side. And Perry has, I mean, for all intents and purposes, uncovered that. She just denied it, but I think he knows that she's doing this at this point.
what do you think of in that scene when Perry says to her, if you want out, that's okay.
I don't know if there's any getting out alive in this.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I meant, I guess. how do you read that? As he kind of says it as though he's saying, if you want to get away from Jason and take the kids with you, I'll help you do that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it feels almost like the implication is, if you want out, no problem killing you.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll just put you out of misery. Yep.
So he's good too. Yeah, all the performances in the show are very good. Uh let's see. So yeah, but I don't think you mentioned one aspect of that is it does seem like he's put together the thing with the gun, like because Cliff had that gun and that gun
Correct.
was Billy's gun, I guess.
Yes. Yes.
That's how that goes
That's
together.
he's matched it to the picture of Billy. That's how he's put it together. Yeah.
Yeah. Um so does that go to the level of him having drawn the line to Robbie, you think?
Well, that's a good question. We had this monologue from Robbie about the Dark Hearts showing up at the funeral, shaking Robbie's hand, telling him
Yeah.
how sorry they are. Robbie having to hold himself in to, keep him from attacking them at the funeral. So they know that he's angry about that. Um, and I guess he's just making a correct assumption that he would, or maybe he's making a correct assumption that he would, want revenge for that. And if Aaron is the mole, then there's a, clear connection there. So I think he's putting it together if he hasn't already.
Yeah, I think probably. I mean, he seems sufficiently smart to make that inference.
Yeah,
I don't know. I guess my hesitation is just also thinking there are what, three more episodes of this show?
that's
It
right.
seems like the walls are getting pretty closed in, if that's already the case, that
Yeah.
um the Dark Hearts have figured out that Robbie's involved. So we'll see. Let's talk about Maeve a little bit more.
Hmm.
Robbie and Cliff have the plan in this episode, maybe goes back a little bit before that. What they wanted to do was sell the drugs and then escape to Canada, right? So one, Maeve says, I'm not doing that, and your kids aren't doing that either. And she also says, look, if you don't turn Sam in by the morning, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know, just general thoughts about Maeve?
She's just, I mean, the most level-headed person on this show. I mean, I put in our document here why she's sticking around, but I think she's sticking around to take care of these children because even though Robbie clearly loves them, he does not have their best interest in mind, is not making the right decisions for them. And so Maeve is at least trying to protect them and cover them from what's happening here. And now she's got to feel like she's in some way got to cover and protect Sam as well.
Yeah.
But I really have enjoyed Amelia Jones in this role. Seems to have a good head on her shoulders, but just I don't know, keeps getting put under the influence of Robbie saying, I'll take care of it, even though she knows he never will.
Yeah. Yeah. There is a little bit more the show's given us to your question of why does she stick around. In one of their conversations, it comes out that they're living in Maeve's house.
That's right. That's correct. Good point.
It's like it was Billy's house that became Maeve's
Yeah.
house, and they moved in with her after Robbie's wife left him and all of that. I guess. I mean,
Yeah. I th-
I think I'm putting
I
that together right.
I think that's right. Robbie's wife left. Billy died. I guess Maeve's mom's out of the picture, and so yeah, Robbie and the kids moved in. I think that's right.
Yeah. So one, Maeve's not going to leave because it's her damn house.
Right.
And then two, I think also what you said. I think it all kind of comes out in that same conversation of, you know, having to take care of these kids and so on and so forth, which
Yeah.
she cares about and loves and all of that as well. And Robbie's making stupid decisions, and so she's at the point now by the end of episode 4 where she's saying, "Look, I'm not going to let your stupid decisions ruin the lives of
Exactly.
these kids too." And so on. And she did make the previous attempt already to um, get Sam out of the picture, and that failed. Uh, and then the move she made to get out of that jam were kind of interesting. I guess that worked. It's coming back a couple episodes now.
Yeah, that was a good scene. I thought they did that well.
Yeah. Um, so we'll see. I mean, does she like take Sam to the cops at the beginning of the next episode? Does Robbie do something to prevent her from doing so?
Yeah, I think we're about to get Robbie panic moment in the next episode, and take Sam as just on the run. So who knows
Probably
what he'll do
because
in that
Sam,
scenario,
yeah, and Sam's also starting to ask to go home to his parents.
right?
Of course, that can't happen. They have the altercation at the truck stop or whatever, where the guy sees Sam and um, Robbie beats him up.
Yes,
That's
yes.
significant too, because now the FBI is discovering that at the end of episode 4. Although you can't see Robbie's face,
Can't see
so
Robbie's face, but
he's
you
got
can
that going
see.
for him.
Yeah, you can see. I actually paused it and looked at that. What can you see? You can see. You can't see his face. You can see a lot of the hair. You can see the armband tattoos. So there's something that's sort of an identifying marker. You can see a little bit of the car, and clearly Sam is right there. So there may be enough there to help identify. We'll see what. And now all he has to do is go to that location and start talking to people around. Did you see a guy around here? And somebody probably spotted him. So it won't take too long to figure out who it is, I don't think.
Yeah, so I think you're right. Robbie on the run with Sam
Yeah, that's
almost has
dangerous.
to be where this is going.
Yeah,
If to the extent that we've determined that Barry has probably figured out that it's Robbie.
yeah. Perry and Tom have both figured it out. Robbie's got to start running. Yeah.
Tom's getting pretty close at very least. And Maeve has threatened to go turn Sam in,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So everything points to Robbie with a car full of drugs and a little kid on the run. I'm sure that'll go well for him. I'm sure
Yeah.
it'll all work out in the end.
Oh boy, I no, I am.
Everything happens for a reason, you know.
Yeah. So the name of the next episode is, I think it's Vagrants. Just looked up what the exact definition of vagrants is: a person without a settled home or regular work who wanders from place to place. So
Mm-hmm.
there you go.
There you go. Briefly before we wrap up, we should say something about the other people. Um, I put Grasso and Stover in our notes to hit on them, their kind of budding relationship. I don't know how much we have to say about that. And then there's also Aaliyah, who was, really competent young black woman,
Yes.
FBI agent who won the marksman competition, or whatever.
Yeah.
Thoughts about these three characters?
DJ Grasanova. I mean, that's a quite a backstory. Love that.
Yeah,
Yeah, the relationship that's budding is I think probably predictable. Something like that would happen, but also leads me more to think that yeah, something's up with Silver or Grasso, and one of them's working with Kath, and something's gonna have to happen there. Some sort of crossroads, and Leah's gonna get caught in the middle of it, and we just all but by the way, we just happen to know that she's an expert marksman, and that will surely come into play at some point.
yeah. Did you find yourself at all? Do you find yourself at all suspicious of Grasso because he's played by the guy who plays Kristen Cole in House of the Dragon?
Oh, yes, I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, that guy is a shady mother in House of the Dragon. So yes, absolutely.
See, I'm almost finding myself flipping it and saying, like, to the extent that the creators of Tasker have that in mind at all,
Yeah, yeah,
that he's probably squeaky clean good guy in this
that's
show. You
probably
know what I
true.
mean?
Yeah,
But yeah, we'll see how that goes. I don't know. I don't know what to make of the whole sex scene, almost sex scene.
yeah. You
He
don't want to
doesn't
sleep with
want
her in the
to.
bed that his marriage her marriage bed. Yeah, that was quite weird.
I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know. Any opinions about his position there? He doesn't want to have sex with her in the bed that she used to have sex with her husband in.
All I would say is first time I've heard of
Okay.
that position. Yeah, not no opinions there.
Oh yeah. I don't know. Nah, I don't know. You I haven't. That's my opinion. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. Obviously, those three other members of the task force are going to be relevant to the story, and we'll
For
see.
sure.
Is one of them also somehow in cahoots with the dark arts or somehow corrupt?
Hmm.
It's definitely possible. My money would be on Stover, with
Yeah.
apologies. Um, but we'll see. I mean,
Yeah.
if we already know that the like Tom's boss is talking and giving information and so on to the Dark Hearts. Is there someone else doing that also? And then
Correct.
it
Yeah.
is kind of weird, I hope that we might get a little bit more information on this question of why they're setting up the task force at all, given that relationship, but maybe we
Yeah.
won't.
Yeah. I'd be curious to know more about that, but I fear that we will not.
Yeah. All right. Anything else we need to talk about here before we wrap up?
Oh, that's good. Looking forward to episode 5 next week.
Yeah, me too. So this might have felt a little bit general because we're trying to hit on 4 episodes this week, but I think we covered it pretty well. We'll move forward here in the coming weeks, episode by episode. So hopefully people will join us. If you've enjoyed the podcast, please do leave a good rating, review, all that good stuff. If you're on YouTube, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Greatly appreciate it. You can follow TV Obsessive on social media. If you search for TV Obsessive, you should find us. And alternately, you can just directly go to tvobsessive.com and you can find written work there on any number of TV shows, past and present. And we'll be back with you next week.
All right. Looking forward to it and see you then.